Hi folks, long video here, so if you want to get to the quick comparison, jump to that chapter at the end so you can hear them in rapid succession side by side. But without further ado, let's dive in. Hey everybody, Jim Fusco here, and we're going to do a little experiment that I hope can help some people out there and also potentially help me if other people have an idea of how to do this any differently than I've been able to figure out how to do it. And that's to record the guitar coming out through an amplifier to make it sound as close to as it sounds in real life. We're going to try a few different things. We're going to have it played through my Marshall amp over here. We've got the Marshall Origin series. You can see it right over there. We've got the Marshall Origin combined with the 2x12 cabinet. And I'm not running any pedals or anything through it. I'm looking for a good clean sound out of it. And then we're going to try using my Les Paul Standard, which you'll see right here, to try to get a pretty standard sound out of the thing. And then we're also going to try it with a Stratocaster that I've got to see if we can get some single coil tones out of it. We're going to record, it's going to be a little subjective, right? Because I'm going to have to compare it to what I hear in person. But we're going to record using a microphone up to it, maybe a couple different microphones. Then there's a DI out on the back of the Marshall amp. We're going to run that into the computer and record it that way. And then we're going to record it using the DI box that I have, which is the Torpedo captor. That thing, we're going to run that in and use the speaker cab simulation on that. And then finally, we're going to have it go in as an IR loader, which apparently just, it takes the input response signal from the amp head itself over here. And then we're going to use the wall of sound program that came with the Torpedo captor to see if we can get that as close to realistic as possible. So let's give it a shot and see where this thing ends up. All right, let's give this a shot using just the audio that's coming through my phone to see if it can kind of pick up what it sounds like in real life. Very chimey, very full sounding, really pretty sounding, and no noise. When I take my hand off the string, there's a little bit of buzz, just the slightest sound. I've got this on the full 20 watt mode, tube mode. Let's try one more time. Yeah, it sounds really good. Okay, now we've got a Shure PG57 microphone in front of the cabinet. Neck pickup. A little harsher out loud. bridge pickup. Very harsh to the ear out loud, very trebly. And then I've also got the bass a little up, tilts in the middle, gain is at 3, the master volume is at about 7, 7.5, the presence is all the way up, tilt is in the middle, and everything else is in the middle. And here's the Les Paul Standard, gorgeous Les Paul Standard, on the Torpedo captor with the XLR out. So that's the simulated speaker cab. Okay, so for this one, we have the Les Paul going from the Marshall through the output cable here. That goes, the speaker cable goes into the Torpedo captor, which then goes from a TRS or balance cable into the interface, into Logic Pro, and then goes through this Torpedo Wall of Sound program, which is meant to capture the IR, input response signal, and then record it directly into here. I have it set up so that it simulates a Marshall cab similar to what I've got out loud over here. So let's give it a shot. And here is the Gibson using the direct out. Okay, out loud, the Stratocaster, this is just on the neck pickup. I'm not going to go through every tone here, but is definitely thinner sounding on here, understandably so. The output is a lot less than the other one. This is the Deluxe Players Strat from about 15 years ago. Okay, this is the Strat going through the Torpedo captor. So this is using the XLR out on the Torpedo captor, going into the computer through Logic Pro with the built-in speaker emulation on the Torpedo captor. This is the Stratocaster going into the Torpedo captor and over into the computer using the IR and the Torpedo wall of sound on the neck pickup. Okay, and here's the direct out from the Marshall amp. There's a DI out in the back. I can already tell there's going to be a lot more noise in this one. Okay, so now we've heard the long form comparisons. Let's do a quick side-by-side comparison of each so that we can try to figure out what one sounds the closest to what I hear in reality, and I'd love to get everybody's thoughts about it too. Let's start with the Gibson. What'd you think? I thought the one that sounded probably most close to like what it sounds like in person out loud was probably the microphone up to the cabinet, but I don't like that sound recorded the most, funny enough. The capstan that's built into the Torpedo captor is good. It sounds really nice. It sounds very trebly, though, which is different than how it sounded in real life. And then I think the one that probably has the most kind of complex sound that sounds just a little, I don't know, just more nuanced is the Torpedo wall of sound plugin, the IR loader that was in here. I didn't like the DI sound very much at all. It's usable. I mean, you know, in a pinch, especially playing live or something like that, I wouldn't have any qualms using it. But I think the one that I'd probably go recording with is the wall of sound. It's a lot easier for me. I've got people in the house that I can't record out loud all the time. Plus it's a house, so there's air conditioners and furnace that comes on and things like that. It's never very quiet in here. And the only thing about that wall of sound plugin is that it's a plugin and it's something that you have to fiddle around with things, and it's always just, it's like another layer. So at least recording directly through the wall of the Torpedo captor into the computer is that using the capstan that's built in there is that it's just simple. You just hit record and that's it. There's no plug-in, there's no settings to do. It just kind of records in and that's it. But I don't know. I think using the bounce in place feature for those who have the Logic Pro program like I have, that might be good because once it's recorded, I'm just going to bounce it in place, save that there so that in the future, if they don't update the wall of sound plugin or it doesn't exist anymore, at least I'll have the original recorded audio so that I'll always have it just the way I recorded it. So let's give the Fender a listen and see about that comparison if it's any different. me, kind of the same thing. That one, it's just when you hear the wall of sound, it has, I don't even know how to describe it, almost like a more processed sound to it, where it's just got this little shimmer on it that makes it sound so much more complex and interesting. I'm not going to say that it sounds better than the the amp cab simulation that comes out of the Torpedo captor, but it just, I don't know, it almost seems like it maybe has more headroom or something like that. It just sounds different. And again, the microphone up to the cabinet sounds probably the most like it sounds in real life, but it's also kind of flat sounding as well. And that just could be because it's a very acoustically treated room or something along those lines. And the least amount of extra processing I have to do after the fact, the better. So I think what I'm probably going to do going forward is record using that wall of sound plugin, maybe tweak some of those options in there, and just try to find something that I think is close enough to what I hear out loud so that I can make my recording sound like I'm actually here in the room with it. So I hope you enjoyed this comparison. Again, would love to hear all of the suggestions, your thoughts on it, what you think about how I approach this, or if there's any other ways that I could go about it. And thank you very much for watching. I'm Jim Fusco, and I hope you'll join me again.